Well, hello, my friends. We have an exciting day today, and I'm just going to cut straight to the chase. I have a tree, and I have shrubs. Friends, it happened. I made a tree choice, and I made shrub selections. Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready to dive in? Because I feel like it's going to take me a minute to get all these in the ground, and I got to get started right away because we are already after 5 o'clock. And I'm going to get called in for dinner like a little kid. So first order of business, this is Euonymus green Spire. Now, it's kind of has like a bit of a funky growth habit going on right now. I might just trim those off, but this is a really fantastic specimen. This is a beautiful, upright, evergreen shrub. It grows, I would say, up to about 6 feet tall, 1 to 2 feet wide. And for me, it really fits the bill back here because, as you know, I was struggling with my hedgehogs. So one thing that I kind of mean by I was struggling with my hedgehogs is I originally had spec'd out the Cephalotaxis hedgehog for this area back here, but a couple of things kind of started grating on me a little bit, and I kind of figured out why. First and foremost, I love a textured garden. I think texture is so profoundly important. And oftentimes when I meet a client who is dissatisfied with their garden, a lot of times one of the culprits is a lack of texture. And so for me, I knew that I wanted to layer conifers, layer florals, layer evergreen shrubby elements, and also lots of grasses to pull this garden together. So when I had my hedgehogs back here, what was happening is they were fighting with my glaucous kind of pendulous fur, this beautiful blue fur here. And then the other thing is I have my gorgeous Angel Falls pine, that beautiful weeping pine over here to my right. And so with all of this needle-like foliage, it didn't provide the contrast that I needed, that I also knew my garden needed to feel balanced and wholesome. So the other thing about this area, you can see my beautiful blue fir. This was one of the very first things I planted back here in the garden. But what it did is it adds this beautiful cooling quality and a very soft needle. I then layered it over here. We have my flowerful hydrangea, which is a beautiful white mop head. And so that white really picks up on a lot of this blue. It's one of those tricks I love to play with in a garden. And this has a very spring green leaf. Well, back here with my Euonymus, and by the way, these are looking a little splayed out. And typically, when these are mature, they're very, very conical. They're very upright. They're a very sturdy shrub. I'll see if I can pop in a picture of what a mature green Spire Euonymus looks like. But it's a beautiful selection, and it's also a fast-growing selection. And I actually think that this one is especially well-suited to my really sandy soils. Now, the other thing that I'm kind of taking into consideration here is I've got the wall behind me. And as we've discussed, the wall is not changing. I am just like everyone else out there. I have certain things that are above my budget and I'm not going to change them. I'm just going to live with them. Well, this little bad boy is going to grow quickly and we're going to get a lot of really beautiful coverage back here. And it's kind of going to be a nice counterpoint to my Taxus hedge, which is kind of directly across the garden. So it'll echo a bit of that formality, but also be its own thing. And also a shiny, glossy, deep green leaf adds so much variety of texture with my strappy allium, my beautiful blue fir, and of course, the soft green of my hydrangea, my flowerful hydrangea. Now, the next selection, you guys, this is the tree. Okay, so I'm so excited to show you this tree. And I knew I wanted a couple of different things going on here. I either wanted a multi-trunk or I wanted something with a low branching habit. I wanted something that would extend out. And primarily I was looking for something that had this beautiful, deep foliage, which you can see kind of coming on. The other thing is this actually has beautiful bark. The bark has a depth, richness to it. It's like this beautiful wine, Merlot, Burgundy, and it begins to echo that witch's lipstick color that I'm using all throughout the garden. So we're talking, it's echoing my peony color. It's echoing my Munstead Woods color, which also is perfect because my Munstead Wood is right down here. And one of my new peonies is literally directly behind me in the ground. The other thing is I'm going to work to bring in a bit of this depth of color in foliage throughout the rest of this garden, because when I think about layering, and again, here's just like little tiny nuggets I'm bringing in. When I think about usage of color and usage of texture, I always think for my interesting pops, I want head, shoulders, knees, and toes, meaning I want something that's bringing this beautiful height, this gorgeous depth of color to that head position, the tallest point, shoulders, knees, and toes. So a shoulder moment, I think eventually is going to become my beautiful peony. These ones are so sensational. I got them from Peony Envy. I planted those maybe a month and a half ago. And also toes, a toe moment. I might be bringing in something like a heuchera or a beautiful sedum in this color. Another aspect that I know I'm bringing in is this foliage color is going to be repeated in other items like my Astrantia Star of Love, along with my Penstemon Blackbird. So all that having been said, I think what I want to do is I want to get my little mini hedge in first. I'm placing these 2 feet on center. I don't need them to be a wall. I kind of like that they're going to retain a bit of their shape while still obscuring, of course, the wall behind it. So I'm going to get those guys in the ground. And then after we get those in the ground, if time permits and I have not been called in for dinner, we're going to plant a beautiful maple tree. You guys, I didn't even tell you what maple this is. Please hold caller. Okay, I got so excited talking about why I selected this that I didn't even really get into it. So this was another gift from Isley from when I did my massive order from the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival. And you know I love Isley. I talk about them all day, every day. They're a brand that I go to time and again. And in fact, you know what I've actually been thinking about? I've been thinking about doing a full breakdown of the brands that I love, that I reach for in my design work, and different things that they're kind of known for. So if that sounds interesting to anyone, you just let a girl know. But without much further ado, you guys, this is Acer Pung Kill, Pungkil. And would you look at this little nugget? Okay. Broad upright growth habit. It grows 6 to 12 inches a year. And so I did get the biggest one that I could get from Isley. And so because I wanted an immediate sense of place here, knowing that it's going to be 6 to 12 inches a year of growth. I don't expect any growth until maybe next year. This does get 15 feet tall, 12 feet wide. And to give you a bit of a sense of perspective, I wanted something that would essentially obscure the house behind me. However, I didn't want it so wide that it impeded on the sun in the greenhouse. Also, you'll notice the position is a little bit to the north of my greenhouse. The other thing is I really wanted to sit on my bench here and have a tree canopy over me. And so based on how I am positioning it, it will extend almost 5 to 6 feet over my little head. And so I can be out here with a cup of coffee or reading or just having a peaceful moment and taking a break from weeding and sitting under this incredible tree. The other things, this can do sun to part shade. The other thing that I really loved about this, for me, it was an immediate yes. There is a delicate nature to each one of these leaves that is really unmatched. And we're just starting to see it. I will bring you in, but this looks like just delicate little fingers coming out from each branch. It is, you guys, this is so gorgeous. And by the way, this foliage is emerging a little bit lighter. It's going to deepen as the season progresses. And then, you know, I love a fall moment. This is going to take on a beautiful, vibrant red color right before the leaves drop, and we are left with this beautiful burgundy Merlot winter interest bark that will take us all the way through winter into spring the following season. Look at the unfurling of this leaf. It is so incredibly delicate and beautiful. They look like tiny streamers or ribbons. And then as the leaves get bigger, let me show you this one over here, they start to straighten out. And do you see that delicate foliage? I mean, this is, to me, this is so elegant. It's so delicate. This is kind of everything that I'm wanting to achieve in my garden. And I think it is going to be a sensational coloration anchoring this corner. The other thing that I play with a lot in my work is borrowed vistas, right? So it's not necessarily just about what we have in our garden, but I have this beautiful camellia. Actually, a lot of you guys ask me about this. This is a massive, massive camellia. This is a Camellia japonica, so it's a spring bloomer, and it has a pink flower with a white edge to it. Super interesting variety. But the other thing is, as we tilt this way, you can see how the burgundy, that beautiful Merlot, begins to play with the green of my glass house up there, which, by the way, you guys, I did seed starting with my son yesterday, my youngest boy, and we had the most magical time in the glass house. Now, one of the major tasks that I always have this time of year is weeding. And I always tell people, I'm like, spend your time weeding. Like, spend your time weeding in April, because that, honestly, I feel like that is a make or break item for your gardening year, because weeds that you can get at this time of year before they go rampant, you guys, it'll save you so much heartache. So I always feel a little scatterbrained when I am weeding and, planting and so on and so forth. But you guys, get it early, get it now. You're going to thank me. I'm having a little bit of a think as I'm planting. And I think I might actually want to go 20 inches on center. These grow about 2 feet wide, I would say. Sometimes a little bit less than 2 feet. So I kind of think maybe I want to go 20 inches. And then I can always prune them to more of kind of like a rounded form if I feel like it's too much of a wall. But I think that's what I'm going to do. The other thing I'm noticing is some of these lower branches that are young are super floppy. So after these get established, I actually may come in here and give this a haircut, because I think they're actually just top heavy. So I think I may cut it right down here, and we'll just see if that works. But I'm kind of liking 20 inches. Okay, this is looking super cute. Isn't it so funny? In the late day sun, my fur is absolutely glowing. This is so great. And this is kind of what I wanted. I wanted just a glossy, deep green backdrop, nothing fancy. And by the way, I really did debate adding kind of more in through here, but this is my flowerful hydrangea. And when I was talking to my friend Aaron, who works at Bailey's, he was like, full sun position, and this sucker is gonna get like 4 to 5 feet tall and wide, easy. And so if that's the case, it's actually gonna be boom, huge right in through here. And then I have all of my, gosh, I gotta get out of my shadow here. But I have a bunch of bulbs right down here. This is the Car Green heirloom daffodil, and it hasn't bloomed yet. But what I was kind of thinking is I actually have a beautiful blue conifer at the shop that's an old centerpiece. I might plant it right there as kind of a nice anchoring point at the end of the stairs as you come down. All right, friends, it is time for the main event. We're gonna get the new maple in the ground, and she's going right where that little tiny pile of rocks is. So I kind of did some thinking, and I looked at this from a variety of angles. And honestly, from my perspective, I actually think that this might be the front, because I love the evenness of the branching habit coming out here. And I'm kind of trying to like envisage what it's gonna be like sitting under this tree. And I do think having a really graceful bough heading in this direction is gonna be the ticket. Yeah, I looked at it from the other side thinking I wanted these to be headed back. I don't like how it looks. It doesn't feel balanced. So I think what I might do is I think I might dig my hole back a little bit more, knowing that these two branches are growing a bit more forward. And I don't want it to crowd my cute little bench here. But whenever you're positioning a tree, I feel like there's always a face and you gotta kind of like walk around it a couple times and see how it feels. But so far, this is feeling really good. Holy mackerel. That thing was tucked in there tight. Woo! Friends, this corner is officially feeling like we are almost ready for those ephemeral bits, those little floral elements, because honestly, the anchoring pieces and those evergreen elements are so foundational when you're doing design work. And I am loving this. It has all of my things I want. It has a purple foliage. We've got a blue foliage. We have not only a deep green foliage, but we have a muted soft green in the flowerful hydrangea. All together, this is now telling a super complete textured story. You know, I have all sorts of thoughts when I'm gardening, and I've had so many different ideas come through just in placing these plants. And one thing I was really considering was doing a whole entire video on finding your own garden aesthetic, because I think what I want to convey most is that everyone's garden is going to be different. Everyone's garden is going to feel different, and we all want different things. And even if we go out there and say, okay, I want an English garden, well, guess what? That is actually going to mean so many different things to so many different people. So if you're interested in a little mini course on identifying your garden style, let me know. It's gonna take probably a couple weeks to pull something like that together because I want it to be really in-depth, but it actually might be kind of a fun exercise. Okay, my friends, this corner garden she is feeling so good. I'm a little mad that I displaced some of my seeds, but all in all, everyone will survive. Oh, also, I ended up scooting this back about 8 to 10 inches because I realized that I was placing this tree with the accommodation width of a Cephalotaxis hedgehog. And instead, we're going with our little Euonymus green spires. And so what that allowed me to do is push my tree back a little bit more. And now I have all sorts of fun playroom down here for some gorgeous floral elements. Okay, I'm gonna see you in the next one. In the meantime, get out there and say hello to your garden for me. Bye.